Whereas other shows may be more conflict-oriented in order to progress the series, Witch Hat Atelier takes the characters we grow to love and puts them through strife so that they can pull out their latent potential stemming from their background. It's a heavy focus on characterization of a person, and I believe it is the golden rule that the show rests upon as its foundation. The author uses this golden rule to develop other rules within the subject matter itself. In the newest episode of the anime, we get to see how Coco undertakes her first genuine trial of magic despite being, as Quiffrey described, a newborn foal. It is a trial by fire with little experience, which, when it comes to such a sophisticated and dangerous magic system, you don't want to be fanning flames with insufficient knowledge. Within this test, we get to see Coco's unique reaction to struggles faced by witches. Being an outsider, Coco doesn't anticipate what the Dada range can look like. For someone who's lived her entire life outside of the magic world, just now wading through the waters to get a feel for it, she couldn't expect what she saw. It's simple cause and effect in characterization, but it works the same way for what Coco has experienced. Coming from the outside world and knowing what she does, Coco has some interesting ideas and development during this trial that only she can muster. After attempting what she can with the sylph shoes that create flight, she gets the inkling to draw the sigils, runes, and keystones on the bottom of her feet. In the anime, there's a foreboding tone and somber atmosphere as she ponders the idea of breaking the rules. Upon quickly taking a step back and regaining her composure, she realizes that she can't succumb to desperateness. If we're thinking about how this frames her character, there's a myriad of depth to this interaction. If we remember Coco's first interaction with the magic world, it involved an evil picture book with forbidden magic from a turbulent era. She grew up with a fascination at the prospect of casting her own spells, and upon the fateful day of finding Quiffrey and unlocking the conceptualization of magic, Coco uses that same picture book to cast different spells. From the beginning, she has been intertwined with taboo subject matter when it comes to the world of witches. We understand this on a deeper level from the rumors of Coco that are spreading around. Her existence within witch society itself is a touchy subject. As far as we know, it is unprecedented, hence the reason why the information spread like wildfire. For a conglomerate of people who are subject to rules and pacts and whatnot, anything outside of these precautions screams danger. There's both pros and cons to this kind of mindset. That being said, when it comes to Coco, she is an outsider who has already been exposed to this forbidden magic without the lifelong setting straight of the rules. Hence, she is more susceptible to the idea of using it to her advantage. This first involvement with the idea is harmless proof that the concept is possible, so who's to say there won't be more temptation later down the line? In one standpoint, you can argue that it is unacceptable of Coco to be thinking about such measures at all as a fledgling apprentice. However, if you sit on the idea that this displays Coco's ingenuity at a beginner level, then you may have some promise in the creativity of her ideas. When your craft's primary practice is thinking outside the box, where better can you get someone to do that than a person who has lived outside the box her entire life? Brainstorming a method through which to progress, Coco is inspired by her mother's teachings of being a tailor. Instead of having to rely on her ruined components, she takes a sheet of fabric and paints the scriptures onto that instead, using a tool that she is familiar with. This is the kind of thinking that revolutionizes ideas in a magic system like this. Being so detailed in specifics yet open in agency, Coco's archetype is a valuable one to have in mind and spirit. Her characterization doesn't turn her into a tailor with this scene. She is solidified as the outsider that she is, but it's painted in a way that doesn't portray it in a negative light. If anything, it portrays a talent for magic, not necessarily in a bookworm sort of way just yet. It does in the necessary faculties to think beyond just what's on the paper. Coco is going to excel in using magic in ways that feels truly whimsical. The episode goes on further to strengthen that bond that Coco had with their mother. These flashbacks that appear aren't solely for tacking on a shallow sentiment to get the audience enamored. It exclaims in big, bold imagery that Coco cares for those that surround her, from her mother to strangers she has yet to meet. She cares about the connections she makes. works. Acting as her motivation, helping others using magic is a value Coco stands steadfast by. To wrap up things together in a neat little bow, this golden rule I mentioned at the beginning is far more than just plain characterization. It's how the story uses this characterization in later conflicts that makes it more than just a technique. These qualities that I've been detailing, such as ingenious thinking and morality systems, are touchstones that Witch Hat Atelier returns to for much of its overarching plot points. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything specifically, I just want to allude to storytelling methods that the subject matter is already placing onto the path. We've only seen how Coco has been characterized with their motivations, morals, and values. There's so much more we have yet to see with Coco, but we've established her baseline. In terms of stories, it really feels like no one is left behind when it comes to well-established characters in Witch Hat Atelier. I know that one character people are going to have strong opinions about is Agate. She is someone who forces Coco into the test in the first place while thinking higher of herself than others. It's not as if she leaves a lot open to interpretation in what she says. However, just as Quifrey has been moving in the shadows as a senior witch, Agate, as well as the other apprentices, also have backgrounds or trauma that they need to deal with. Witch Hat Atelier explores the myriad of experiences that these girls have gone through with their time in the world of witches. In the opening, we see Coco being nice and cooperating with all of the members of the Atelier, therefore showcasing development and connection that they all form at some point. If we're thinking about it in the sense that Coco has been shown in, then we need to consider the types of climates that witches are subject to. In Quifrey's trip, we learn about the larger enclave of witches that live under the water. This is where masters also mentor their apprentices. Surrounded by the culture, it's as if it was a university city made for learning magic. When asked if he would prefer to live down here for convenience, he simply brushes it off as a subject, obviously determined in his resolve to keep his separate life from here as home. As a mentor, Quifrey also thinks about his apprentices and what they would like. Each of the girls he teaches must have some reason or another that they chose to move away from all the other witches. Whether it's environment, interpersonal circumstances, or moral issues, each of these students are full of depth as to their character and values. Just as Coco is beginning to sprout her sensibilities, we'll be able to learn about the sturdy reasonings behind Agate, Riche, and Tetia. At some points, the same occurs for side characters and even tertiary characters as far as I am aware. Now, I don't want to ramble on about the same thing forever, so just as last week's video, I want to talk about some neat parts about this week's episode in terms of adaptation. I believe the pacing of the show is being constructed in a wonderful manner. It's not just about the larger overarching timeline, but the impact that has on the little moments in between. When Coco is learning about how to maneuver the sylph shoes, she has little comedic moments that break the tension of such a daunting task ahead of her. It provides a relief within the audience to see her still having fun with magic while facing a substantial challenge. When she's soaring through the air of her own ability, the anime takes a moment so you can soak in the joy that Coco is experiencing. This whole sequence of an episode is a wonderful setup and payoff from her mother's shop to the Dada range. This phenomena of momentary payoffs is only possible because of the careful pacing of the anime. Otherwise, the animation proves to be as wonderful as last week with some new flair here and there. To end off my thoughts, I believe this golden rule of characterization will be important continuing into this first season. The directors and animators want you to care about each of the people in the series and give them a chance. Just as the black and white facade of magic was unveiled to Coco, I believe the author wants to show us the same gray area of people, intentions, motivations, and actions. Thank you very much for watching. See you all later, you cool people.